Hey everyone, Jason here. I wanted to go ahead and make a follow-up video to my previous one because I got so many great comments and I wanted to go ahead and be able to go ahead and, we'll say, reply to them. And I find when I'm typing out my responses, sometimes they don't come out the way I want, or I just can't communicate exactly how I feel without being able to express myself. So I figured I'd, throw up the camera and let my hands fly, because I realize I really talk with my hands, don't I? Anyways, I got some suggestions. I had some thoughts that I wanted to go ahead and address directly to all you guys. So now, since some people did, I did get, we'll say, similar comments from multiple people. I'm just going to be grouping, I'm going to be responding to the comments, specifically, and I'm not going to be attributing them to any one individual, even though, you know who you are. The first thing was, we'll say, in relation to, the whole Patreon thing. I think I've figured out what I'm going to do with that. But I do still want to go ahead and respond to some of the things, that were was suggested for that, and I'm going to be telling you guys kind of what I'm thinking of doing, what I'm planning on doing, and what I've kind of already started doing. One of the comments I got was to try to save up some and get a capture device for consoles. Now that's something I've been trying to kind of do, but like I mentioned before, the money I do make, I do use that to sort of help pay bills. So the amount of money I get to be able to throw back into the channel is minimal, but I have been saving up a little bit. I'm hoping at this current rate, I should be able to by next year, by January, I should be able to get myself a capture device and be able to start covering, some console games and stuff. That'd be great, because I've got consoles back from the Atari 2600 up to the PS3. I don't have, we'll say, anything current gen, because that would involve money as well. So, but I do have a lot of, we'll say, older stuff there, and there's a lot of exclusives on there, and there's some systems that are not emulated well, or some of them that are not emulated, period, that I can go ahead and, maybe do a little bit of that as well. So that's something I'm working towards. That's something I definitely want to do. Another suggestion or another thought that people gave me, or someone, who was that? I believe it was Chris Bowling. He basically, told me, turn the channel into more of a team aspect, and that's something I've struggled with a little bit. I guess what I gather from the comment is it's a little bit more, we'll say, interaction with people, and I've mentioned this before, I think in a written comment, but I don't think I've said it out loud, but I tend to, I don't know, it's not something that comes natural to me. It's not something that I value. Like when I watch someone online, or watch a video, to me it's about the content. I want information, I want entertainment stuff. I don't care about being part of some team. I don't care about being some kind of club, part of a club. In real life, I'm kind of, I don't want to say the loner. I've got friends. It's just I don't care about being part of any sort of group. I do what I do. I do what I want to do, and I don't know. I don't really get a whole lot from that. I'm very, we'll say, introverted and socially strange. Now, it doesn't mean that you guys are wrong, and I realize that I should probably try a little bit harder to interact, but it's not something that comes naturally to me. So sometimes when I try to do it, it comes across really awkward. So like someone will say something and I'll reply back and I'm like, well, does that kind of sound like I'm arguing with them? Like, I'm not trying to argue with them, but someone will say something and I'll focus on, we'll say, the facts of what they said, and I'll be like, oh, maybe that's a little bit incorrect. Maybe we should go ahead and correct that, or maybe we could give this opinion about this, or start talking about a story about this, but then I realize, I'm not listening to their concerns. So anyways, that's something that I'll try to do a little bit more, interaction. I'm not sure about, like, I've gone to school for a lot of things. I've said this before, but like, business marketing. So I understand the importance of it's basically marketing. Basically, if you make people feel invested and involved, they're more likely to want to come back. And that's cool. That's cool. That's something I wish I was a little bit better at. But I feel like my forte is a little bit more, say, along the lines of what I like to do, where to me, the content is king. Yes, I'm delivering it. I like to think that I can deliver it in a way that is unique and it is good. but I don't necessarily want myself to be. I don't want to create clubs, because I feel like when you start creating clubs, you create these groups. And I like encouraging people to just sort of think for themselves. And, you know, maybe I'm thinking too much into this. Maybe it's just a simple thing of, you know, like, hey, you know, we like games. Hey, we're thinking, or I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too, I don't know. Bottom line, I will try to interact a little bit more, and I will try to be a little bit more, we'll say, personable. I will try to create sort of a community type thing. If you have suggestions for that, please do, because I am terrible at it. Like I said, like I said, in real life, I tend to be very introverted. I'm not the kind of person who likes to talk a lot with people. You know, small talk, I hate it. I'm usually the quiet person in the room, which probably wouldn't think, you know, watching me or listening to me, that I can stand for like hours in a crowded room and not say a single word, and I'm perfectly content with that. But so yeah, if you have suggestions, you know, hey, you know, you want to help me with that, by all means do, because I'm going to admit that that is one of my greatest weaknesses, is that social engagement. You know what? It's because it's not something that comes naturally to me. It's not something I can instinctively just know, okay, well, I'll do this and that'll make them feel good. Now, I don't understand that, so maybe I need a little bit of, we'll say, input from you guys to tell me what it is that you like about that kind of interaction. I've tried studying it, and most examples I find are very flamboyant. They're like, hey, dude, bros, whatever, yeah! Which is definitely not my style. It's not, I don't want to, we'll say, come across like that. I hate this sort of faked, I love you guy, yeah. And that's not the, we'll say, to crap on anyone who does that, but it's, to me, it just comes across as like, okay, all right. But yeah, so let me know, because I am socially awkward or something. I don't know. Next thing, a suggestion I got was for premium Let's Plays for patrons. You know, maybe starting off the first few parts being public, and then go into the rest of just being, you know, only for the we'll say the paying customer, people who are subscribed on Patreon, or have entire Let's Plays that are exclusive just to patrons. That I'm not crazy about that. I would like my content to be available to everybody eventually. So what I think I will be doing instead, though, is making, we'll say, timed exclusive content for my patrons. I think as of right now, I think we've got 8 or 9 videos that my patrons have that are not yet out to, we'll say, the public. So you know, they're a little bit ahead, and I've still got more on my hard drive that I'm uploading. So you know, within the next, I want to say the next week, you know, my patrons are going to be like 2 weeks ahead. And I think that's fair. I think basically my approach is going to be now that, you know, publicly I put up, you know, the 1 video a day, with, you know, a few exceptions here and there. But my patrons, as soon as I'm done recording a video, as soon as I have content, I put it up for them right away. And I'm kind of hoping to try to get as ahead as possible. Now that does mean that the people on Patreon, it does mean that sometimes they might have content that's a little more irregular in how it gets uploaded, because I just record when I have the chance, right? But it does mean that they're going to be ahead, and it does mean that they're going to have more content than everybody else. And since everybody eventually does get the content, I like that, because it kind of solves an issue I've had. Originally, what I did was I would keep the content on my hard drive, and then I would, you know, I'd put it out, you know, the one video a day. And I did this because, you know, sometimes I'd have weeks where I couldn't record anything, and then I didn't want to put out nothing. I wanted to stay consistent. So by rationing it, I was able to get ahead, and that way, if I had a bad week, well, there was no interruption in content. But when doing that, I felt like there was a bit of a disconnect, because sometimes I'd come back to a game after not recording it for a little while, and I don't know, I felt I had to get back into the game, or you know, I forgot what happened on a previous part, and I wasn't able to really interact. You know, I was really excited. I wanted to talk about what happened, but I couldn't, because all this stuff was sitting on my hard drive, and it wasn't necessarily out in the public. You know, I want to talk about it as soon as it happened. So I feel like this kind of works because it means that as soon as I'm done, I can go ahead and I can be talking about it with my patrons. I can talk about it because it's out there, it's available for people, just not everybody. And then eventually everybody does get to see it. So I think it's nice. It kind of allows me to, you know, talk about things right away, but at the same time, stay generally consistent. The patrons won't have consistent content, but they'll have more content. So I hope that works out. That's what we're going to be trying. If you're interested, it's $2. Price of a coffee. Gets you on the patron list. I felt dirty. I felt dirty. I hate doing that. I know I need to do that. I need to be a little bit more, you know, hey, come get my stuff, and I need to advertise more, but I feel dirty doing it. I don't know. I'm sorry. Another thing, you know, some of the series are a little bit long, so I think I mentioned this a little bit more. You know, more digestible content, more we'll say, you know, one and done type thing. So like, you know, single part let's plays, maybe a shorter game, stuff like I did the podcast. The reason why I haven't done the podcast, one, is I have to coordinate with someone else, and two, I've hated the audio quality with Derek. So I want to do that. I'd like to make that a regular thing, but I just need to get him to fix his audio situation, because it usually ends up taking me hours of editing just to try to boost things up and clean up the audio so that it's at least somewhat listenable. But even then, I'm not happy with it. But that's something I definitely want to try to do more of. More one-off videos that are, you know, they don't require the commitment of like 100-part Let's Play series. So, yeah. So, speaking of 100-part Let's Play series, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go ahead and after Dark Souls, I'm going to sort of alternate between Souls and Witcher. I've really wanted to get into, I wanted to get into The Witcher. It's, you know, I have the first two games. I'll eventually get the third when I get to that point. Same thing with Dark Souls. I have Dark Souls 1 and 2, and I've got Demon Souls on console, which if I get the capture device, I can go ahead and throw that in there too. So that's what I think I'm going to be doing. Those are going to be my, we'll say, my two main sort of Let's Play sort of projects. I'm going to have my Elder Scrolls playthrough, which is still continuing on. And then I'm going to have my Dark Souls Witcher sort of alternating thing. Now, I did get a comment about, we'll say, too many Let's Plays, you know, pulling their attention in different directions. And you know what? From the perspective of somebody who's actually recording these multiple Let's Plays, I'd agree. I need to sort of learn how to just create a queue list and eventually get to these games. Now, unfortunately, you know, I'm planning on tackling a bunch of big RPGs, which means it's going to be a while before I can get to, you know, some of these other games on my queue list. So I guess that's where maybe the one and done Let's Plays are going to factor in. So yeah, I'm going to try to go down to, I think once I'm done with Fatal Frame, I'm going to just try to focus on just the two Let's Plays at a time, and then work on, we'll say, additional, you know, more like podcast, memory dump, maybe try to bring back my at a glance / primer thing where I just focus on one game, just sort of, you know, kind of quasi-review it. It's not really a review, but, you know, just kind of, it's a show and tell thing, like, hey, this is this game, and it's cool because it's purple. Sure. Let's see here. Next comment I've got here, basically suggests, you know, doing live streams, and I've seen some live streams, and, you know, some of the events that go with that, you know, giveaways and stuff like that. Problem with giveaways is they need money, and my problem right now is I don't have money, so there's that. The next problem though with that is with live streams is when I'm available. We'll say Eastern time. We'll say that's my time zone. My time to record is, what are we at? Like, basically between 10 o'clock to 11-ish. That's about all the time I have. 11, maybe 12 sometimes I can get away with. And that's AM. I work at night. You know, so I don't feel like really doing, we'll say, live streaming or anything like that is that great during the day because people are at school, people are at work. My audience is generally not there. You know, I know there are some people, you know, overseas, different time zones and stuff, but Generally looking at the analytics, the majority of my audience is not going to be available. So to me, it's more worth it to me to spend that time recording stuff for my channel than it is trying to do some live streaming things. So I'm not going to be doing live streaming for the time being. Now, it is one of my goals on my Patreon. You know, if I can get up to a certain amount, which is pretty high, but if I can get up to that certain amount, you know, I can lower the number of hours I can do at work, which might be able to actually free me up to do, you know, some stuff at night. So, you know, live streaming would actually become a possibility at that point. But for now, no. I can't work live streaming into my my schedule. All right, well, I think that covers everything. I want to thank the people who went ahead and we'll say replied. We'll say Chris Bowling. If I mispronounced your name, I'm so sorry. Larry Monty, Larry Monty, the Distant Worlds guy. Beldrama. Please tell me I wrote that down correctly. Gustavo Delme, Top Chop 12, Silver Sad, the Fire Gamer 123, which is all in caps, so it should be the Fire Gamer 123, Ozone Griff, Tony Montana, and Oogly Boogly. Please don't let me have forgotten a name. Anyways, thank you guys so much for communicating with me. I'm not gonna lie. I have faults. You know, I really appreciate the comments you left me, even if some of them were just, we'll say, general questions. I like the fact that, you know, even if, like, for example, the Fire Gamer just asked me what game was playing in the background, and that reminded me, idiot, I should be putting, you know, if I'm putting something unfamiliar up on the screen, I should at least put, you know, a title card or something. You know, people haven't you know, played every game out there. I should actually have had, you know, a caption thing up at the top. So, you know, even a simple comment like that is helpful because it reminds me, it gets me thinking. So anyways, everybody, thank you so much. I wanted to be able to just sort of answer everybody, and typing things out is probably would have taken longer because I tend to sort of sit here and I'm not sure if I like the way that was worded, stuff like that. So this way here I can just sort of cover everybody. But thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and try to record something for my channel and stuff like that. So until next time, until the next video, game on.